Good morning, everyone. This is Jake here with this week's episode of What's New at Tackle Warehouse. Fall is just around the corner. About to start getting those first couple cold snaps. This is one of the best times of the year to be out there, in my opinion. When you can find them, you can really catch a ton of fish, and there's not a lot of people out on the lake right now. The first couple things I got here from Fish Arrow, coming straight out of Japan here. So the first one here is the Fish Arrow Bustle Frog. As you can see, what's cool about it, it's just your standard hollow body frog body. With a pointed nose, comes through cover really well. But then on the tail, instead of the rubber legs, it has this nice little Colorado blade on there. So just spins up the water, makes a little bit of flash and a bubbling action. Super cool because you can not only work this through vegetation, but throw it out through sparse stuff, open water, and just reel it. So you can cover a lot more water really quickly. So kind of get two lures in one, just one to throw in the frog box that not a lot of people are gonna have. This next one here is the one I'm super stoked about, is the new, the Maxi frog. Hollow body frog. So this thing, it's super wide up in the front, really has a lot of surface area, and then it has a single skirted tail. And it's kind of that flat rubber, not the round rubber or silicone. What this does though, with the wide surface area on it, it's allowed to skip really well. So this thing is built to skip under overhanging brush, under dock. So because it's so wide and it's not really gonna catch, it's gonna skip under anything and get you way farther back than any other frog. It's also made from a really soft plastic. So, I mean, it collapses down a lot and you get a lot of hook bite on this thing. So definitely gonna wanna check that one out if you guys fish a lot of docks and brush and stuff like that. We got a couple things from Jenko. This first one I kind of rigged up here just to show you guys the purpose of it. This is the new Trapline Lipless Crankbait. Now this is unlike any other lipless crankbait on the market I've ever seen. So it's actually a line through lipless crankbait. So it just has a single treble, VMC treble hook on this line through system. So this thing is awesome for fishing through grass and fishing through cover. It's gonna hang up a lot less since it only has the one treble hook. So you can snap this thing out of the grass and be much more effective fishing through vegetation. And then as you guys know, if you've ever fished any kind of line through swim bait is where you mostly see this kind of rigging technique. Whenever you hook a fish, the bait's gonna slide up the line, and then you're hooked to the fish with just straight hook. So then they can't really get as much leverage on you and throw the bait. They can't use the weight of the lure to twist and leverage on you and get the hook out of their mouth. So you're gonna land a lot more fish with this thing. I'm super stoked to try this thing, especially when you're around some grass flats, and we're gonna check that one out. Next up from them, we got the new Shinobi Shad. This is a really small finesse style spybait. I mean, spybait's already a finesse technique anyway. But this one's even more of a downsized profile. I believe it's only 2 or 2 1/4 inches in length, and it only weighs 1/4 ounce, but it's got really nice oversized blades on it. The cool thing is I like the shape of it. It kind of has more of a shad profile than most other spybaits. Most of the spybaits, just that long, straight, cylindrical body. This actually represents a bait fish a little bit better. And with this size, you're gonna catch everything from bass, crappie, walleye. I mean, everything that swims eats these things. So if you're looking to just go out and catch a lot of fish, or around the fall this time of the year, where you can actually run into a lot of really small shad, this is definitely gonna be the way to go versus some of the bigger spy baits. All right, next up, we got a bunch of stuff from Decoy out of Japan. A bunch of little terminal pieces. They're super cool. This first one is their EX snap. Now, if you're not familiar with Decoy snaps, most of you probably are, because the Decoy egg snap is what comes on the jackhammer vibrating jig. This one is actually their strongest snap they've ever made. So it's made out of this super high grade wire, and it has this new V-shaped bend to it. So it keeps your bait kind of locked down in there in the snap, and so you don't really get as many line fouling issues. But like this little number 4 size has 150 pound strength. So if you're looking for really small snap with a lot of strength, maybe for some saltwater fishing. I use these a ton out when I'm doing rockfish, so I don't have to retie as often. Definitely gonna wanna look at those. All right, next up, another thing from Decoy, we got their new trailer blade. So we got them in Colorado and willow blades, and it just has a little stainless steel wire snap system on there. So a lot of jig heads in Japan already have an accessory eyelet on the bottom of them. We sell quite a few of them actually. And you can also just run this thing up through the soft plastic and firmly attach it to like the shank of the hook if you want to do that. So just give you a little option to throw in the terminal box. If you need a little bit more action, you want some more flash, you can easily turn anything, a lot of baits into an underspin with this right here. All right, next up from Decoy. This is one of those deals where I feel dumb because I never thought of this myself. These are called the Decoy Plus blades. As you can see here, it's just like your standard bobber stop kind of rigging system. But what you're doing is you're sliding 2 bobber stops up your line with a swivel and a blade on there. So basically you can add a willow blade up, anywhere up your line in front of your bait that you want, in front of a swim bait, even a spinner bait, swim jig, whatever. And it looks like your bait is chasing a little shad. Genius idea. I mean, you can put it 6 inches in front of your bait, 2 feet up from your bait. Bunch of cool things you can do with this. Another awesome thing there from Decoy. And the last thing, another little rigging thing they got from Decoy is the Decoy rubber threader. So what this does is it has a sharp end on it, so you can pierce this through soft plastic, and then you can actually feed in some either silicone, rubber, any kind of skirting material, and pinch it and pull it back through. So what this does is you're basically being allowed to add appendages or small legs to any kind of soft plastic you want. And you can, whatever color you want, any kind of combination, anything you want to add to a soft plastic, you can do with this. Another cool little accessory there from Decoy. Next up, from KITANA Hooks. So we just brought in KITANA Hooks. The first thing we got is KITANA Hooks Ned Rig heads. What I noticed about these is they're a little bit stouter than most of the other Ned rigs out there. So you're able to throw a little bit more heavier duty line, throw them on heavy tackle. If you don't want to run, a light action spinning rod with 4 6-pound test, if you want to run something heavier, this is going to be the hook for you. Super stout, you can barely flex this thing. Razor sharp hook, these are chemically sharpened, got a small barb on there to hold your soft plastics on there. And the other thing we got from KITANA Hooks, what I like the most here is their new Stagger Scrounger heads. If you guys know, the big jerky J's, a lot of guys throw those for scrounger heads. Awesome trailer for that. Now they have a head to match perfectly with that. What's cool about these is they don't come rigged in the package. That's why I left them in there. So they have the bills and the snaps on there, so you rig them up yourself. What I noticed about having a scrounger like this is when you have them, you don't have them rigged up in your box and you're not leaving them out in the sun, and it just eliminates the chance for the bills to get deformed and they're not run true. So awesome scrounger head there from KITANA. Make sure to check those out. Next things I got here from Big Hammer Baits. A lot of us around here in the shop, we all use Big Hammer swim baits. They've been around for years. They make awesome soft plastics. They catch everything, freshwater, saltwater, just great baits. So a couple things they've had for a long time that we're finally bringing in is their new salt shaker worm. Awesome little flat bottom, gonna get a nice gliding action. It has a really small pin tail on there, so it's gonna get a lot of action, especially on a drop shot, a shaky head. You barely gotta move this thing and it's gonna shimmy and shake, loaded with scent and salt. The other thing we got from them is their ringer worm. So this was originally developed as a flip bait, I believe in the 90s. Some of the original flip baits were very similar to this, but you can do a ton of things with this. I mean, you can run it on a drop shot. You can throw it on a Texas rig, a Carolina rig. One thing that I thought would be a great idea to throw this on is it's a nice spinnerbait trailer. It has a big body, but a lot of ribbing, so it's not a lot of plastic. Then you got that big tail on there. Again, these are loaded with scent and salt. Just a couple great baits there from Big Hammer. All right, next up here from Zoom, we got the new slinker worm, stick worm. So we all know Zoom's soft plastics have been awesome for decades and decades. They used to have the fluke stick, they still have it, but now they got a straight stick worm without the tail on it. And you're gonna get them on all the great Zoom colors, the great soft plastic that they make, with Zoom scent on there. Just really can't beat a lot of Zoom soft plastics. Now they're giving you premium stick worm to add to the lineup. Last up, one of the coolest craws I've seen in a while. We got the new Beast Coast Marauder craw. The first thing I noticed about this thing is it's got these really long legs and these really unique flanges to it. So they're not overly aggressive, so they're not gonna have that really hard flapping action, but they are gonna have a lot of kick and they are gonna splay out whenever they're on the fall. And this craw is perfectly matched up for a wobble head. That's a great thing to throw this time of the year, especially late summer when the fish are still deep. But you can do anything with this craw. Texas rig it. You can cut it down and have a sweet jig trailer. Got this nice little side legs on there, so you get that little bit of secondary action. Ribs are going to displace a lot of water, give you a little bit of a bubble trail. So just awesome craw there from Beast Coast. Oh, this thing is also injected and soaked in cross scent. So this thing stinks. It's got a lot of smell to it. They're not going to let go when they bite that thing. All right, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of What's New at Tackle Warehouse. For more information or to purchase the products seen here today, make sure to click shop or the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this week's video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, let us know in the comments which one of these products you're most pumped about.